If you're a struggling TikTok shop affiliate or an Amazon arbitrage or wholesale seller, then this video is for you, because I'm going to be showing you how you can go from owner to operator by becoming a marketplace sovereign. Now you see, most people here are what I call operators, and this training is about becoming a marketplace sovereign. Not someone who rents platforms, but someone who owns and someone who is worth something. So just let me show you the difference between an operator and a sovereign. Operators flip, they rent margin, they jump on the next best product. But sovereigns, they build, they own assets, and they can actually sell their business in years to come. Let me ask you a few questions, and I want you to think of these in your mind. What if Amazon closed your account tomorrow? What if TikTok closed your account tomorrow? What if they blocked your payments from coming in? What if a brand reduced your commissions? What if somebody came on your listing the next day if you're selling on Amazon? What would happen then? And the most important question of all, if you stop working, what would happen then as well? Ask yourselves them questions now and let it sink in. Because most of you that are doing Amazon wholesale, arbitrage, and even TikTok shop affiliates, you're just chasing trends and you operate on systems that you don't control. A marketplace sovereign controls the margin, they control the product, they control the supply chain, they control the customer, they own everything. Operators rent and sovereigns build. And today I'm going to show you how us sovereigns actually think. I'm not going to just show you how to source some random product. Today I'm going to give you the map, an absolute framework on what you can use to go ahead and start making that transition. But first of all, I just want to tell you a little bit about my shift. I got into buying and selling on Amazon in around 2019. I was flat broke and I had £500 to my name. I was working in Sainsbury's at the time, and I invested that final £500 that I had into Amazon mentoring. And I can tell you it's the best decision that I ever made. It left me with absolutely nothing but a burning desire though to actually make things work. And I've never had as much conviction as I did back then. But I decided to make that change and invest that final £500 was because I completely just had enough. I'd had enough of management, liaising with customers. It was all just draining and I just couldn't be asked. Before I did invest into Amazon, I did try a few other things like drop shipping, trading and things like this. None of them stuck. I did lose quite a bit of money in a few different things. However, when I did find buying and reselling, it really did stick. So I started as an operator. And success came. I'm not here to shit on operators or anything like this, because it can work and it does work and it can make people some serious money, like it did myself. Success and money came quick and I ended up quitting my job after about 6 or 7 months of doing it, which was absolutely fantastic. I was making around £3,000 per month at that point. And I continued to grow and scale it further and further, make more in revenue, but things got harder and harder. Constant price wars, IP complaints, more competition, all of that. And it just made me so frustrated. And while I was scaling, I made many mistakes on the way. I lost a lot of money. Thinking back at it, there was even one month where I lost 10 grand in a single month. However, it did get me to the point of doing £60,000 to £70,000 months, which was decent. But realistically, I never really saw many profits. I was always stressed, always trying to find that next product, find that next brand, supplier, next partnership, all these types of things. And it was just physically and mentally draining. But I did learn something along the way, which was absolutely fantastic around 3 to 3.5 years ago. People who win long-term don't get better at flipping. They get better at owning. And that is exactly the mindset that took me from doing 60 to 70k months to doing 330k in a single month in December 2025. And it's the exact same mindset that one of my clients, Hassan, made to absolutely transform his business and stop it from failing. That's also the mindset that allowed me to fly me and my girlfriend business class here to Dubai. It's also the mindset that allowed me to go traveling whenever I want. And it's also the mindset that I'm here to install into you right now. So now I'm going to show you the 5-step sovereign framework so that you can change whether it's your affiliate business or whether it's your Amazon arbitrage or wholesale business, into something that you actually own. And I'm using these two examples because while they are slightly different in terms of business models, the problems are the exact same and the solutions are, again, the exact same. So the sovereign framework goes as follows. Number 1, ideation. Second one is validation. Third one is supplier sourcing. Fourth is compliance and branding. And fifth is launching. So how do you come up with ideas? A marketplace sovereign thinks, what problem are people having right now? And what is the product that can be a solution to that problem? Then they choose a channel for it and then bang, they have an asset. So you need to understand what's a good or a bad product. Now, a lot of you are probably thinking, can I sell this? Can I jump on this listing? Can I jump on this product before it's too late, before other people jump on it? You can't be thinking like that, okay? That's very short-minded. You need to be asking, how can I own this space and how can I improve on what's already going on right now? So where are some of the ideas actually going to come from? It can come from pain, because whether you like it or not, people buy on pain. And a lot of the things that I'm going to mention here are emotions. And again, because people just buy on emotions. Pain is one of the biggest emotions of all. So if you can evoke any sort of pain to which someone wants to resolve that pain, then you can make some serious money. Take paracetamol, for example, the most basic example of all. Paracetamol solves the problem of actually being in pain. And when I meant pain, it can be anything: physical pain, emotional pain, anything. For example, if you came up with a stretching machine, someone had really bad problems with their knees, and you came up with a stretching machine which is specifically designed for their knees, which makes mobility in the knees better, furthermore reducing people's pain in their knees. Random example, right? Just off the top of my head, and probably not a product which is good enough, right? However, it's food for thought. You know what I'm speaking about. A couple of other emotions, which is where ideas may come from, is friction, desire. Like, for example, desire. What does someone desire to become? What does someone desire to be like? What does someone love? What is someone's passion as well? Another huge one is passion. What someone likes, loves. If you can create something around that, not just what somebody else loves, but also something that you love as well, which in turn obviously gives you ideas because you know about that subject itself. May seem basic, right? But it can be quite basic. It's pretty simple and pretty obvious to, first of all, try and source a product, try and think of a product before you're validating it. When we get into the validation section, do I actually like this product? Do I actually like this niche? Do I actually know stuff about it? It would be stupid for you not to think about that first. So sovereign products come from like things that annoy people. So you're basically solving a problem or a pain, like I said, and they can also come from things that they wish existed. So let's say, for example, you use a product right now and you want a better version of that product. You, as a sovereign now, when you start gaining more and more and more knowledge about supply chain, sourcing and things like this in compliance, you can literally go ahead and be like, bang, I use this product now, don't like this about it, I'm going to go ahead and improve it. And trust me, it's not that hard. The hardest part is launching and keeping it going and keeping the sales flowing. I really want to stress about this ideation phase that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to come up with anything new, all right? That's the biggest misconception and the biggest mistake that you will ever make, because coming up with something completely brand new to the market is going to be super, super hard, right? So you don't need to reinvent the wheel. The best products, so the people which are making tons of money, are just spin-offs of things which are already there and up and running. They're just better versions of it. So there are some ways that you can personally think of like some ideas without even using anything, but then you can also use some tools to help you come up with ideation as well. You can use things like Helium 10, which is a fantastic Amazon software, good for product research and also various other things in terms of Amazon specifically. I'm just speaking about that, yeah? Another thing you can use is Google Trends. You can look at what's trending right now. You'll be able to type in a keyword and clearly see how many people have been searching for that in the past 30 days, 7 days, yesterday. You can look for trends just for things which have been spiking over the past couple of days and see, oh, is it a product opportunity? You can also use platforms which you probably use already, which is going to be Amazon and TikTok as well. So you can look on Amazon for product opportunities, what's actually there out there on the market, go into different niches and see what can I improve upon. And also you can go on TikTok and see, oh, what's emerging right now? What are people making videos of? Now that we're speaking about social media, you can also use things like Facebook and Instagram, because for example, I know I've personally seen loads of products which have been on Facebook and Instagram before, and I've went to see on Amazon if it was actually on Amazon, and it wasn't, because you tend to see quite a lot of cool and quirky products which are on Instagram and Facebook, because they're like drop shipping products almost. People are just sending it directly from China and they're making good money from doing that. But a lot of people, they don't create the brand around it straight away. They want to make money from drop shipping first. So if you want to go ahead and create that brand, it could be an idea as well. And another software specifically is called Calodata, which I do like to use. It's basically just you using TikTok as well, but you get to see all the sales data of products on TikTok and also people's videos on TikTok, how well they're doing. And one final one before we get onto how we validate some of these product ideas is you can actually just look what's happening in other marketplaces. Now, I'm from the UK, right? And I look closely at the US, right, and see what's happening in the US. You can see what's happening in the US, what's emerging, what's going viral, and you can go from there. Because quite a lot of the time, things will go viral in the States and then nothing will happen in the UK, but they will start selling in the UK when somebody's launched it. But no one ends up launching it for like a year, 2 years, or maybe 3 years sometimes. So it's a good opportunity for you in that respect. And vice versa. Things happen in Europe and you can go to the States, wherever it may be, China, wherever. So let's get on to validation now. When you think you found something, you need to know how to validate it, which basically means, oh, I found this product now, is it going to be good to go ahead with? Now, all the operator really thinks, like I've said previous, is, can I sell this? Can I jump on this? But the sovereign way of thinking, you need to be thinking about things like longevity. How long is this product going to be around for? And if I start selling it, how long am I going to start selling it for? You need to be thinking about things like competitor laziness. How lazy are the competitors around? Are there room for improvement for you to make things better? Is there lots of money to be made? Because it's all well and good you sourcing a product looks like a good opportunity, but if it's very slim margins, then you don't really want to be getting into the private label space on very slim margins, really. And also something to think about is how can you differentiate from the competition by creating a story? Is a very important thing that you need to think about. Because people buy into people, and if you can create a story around something, for example, that you're passionate about, then that's going to go a long way. So let's talk a little bit about a viral and a durable product and the absolute differences between them and what you definitely need to know. Viral products come up fast and they're usually quite short-lived, and they can be reasonably risky if you just think about it, right? Like say, for example, fidget spinners, it came up, in 2019 or 2015, I don't know, came with massive rise up and then a sharp spike down. I've actually heard of stories of people that got into the e-commerce game over 10 years ago. They tried to launch this about a year or two after the trend had happened, and it just zero. Nothing happened, zero sales. Then you've got durable products, things that are stable, things that people are always searching for, problems which are always going to arise. The durable ones are often scalable. Viral makes cash, but durable builds wealth. Now, I'm not saying you should choose one or the other, because you can actually have both, believe it or not. You can have a super viral product, which then becomes durable, for example, or you can have a product which has been durable for the past 20 years, but all of a sudden now, because of TikTok Shop, it's gone super viral, and you could make it go super viral. If you take the example of, I'm looking there because there's a Tongot Alley right in front of me, right? That went nuts, I think around 2022 when TikTok Shop first came around. Tonga Alley's been around for like 20, 30 years, I'm pretty sure. And it's just gone super crazy just because of TikTok Shop. But the purpose was there was still demand before. Conversely, on another perspective, you've got things like air fryers, right? That's another example. Like, no one knew air fryers. Air fryers didn't actually exist, to be fair. So you've got somebody who's actually made an invention, which is top tier side of things. But the basic premise is there was no demand for it. No one knew what it is. And it went super viral. But it was a durable product as well, because it's a fantastic product, solves a huge solution. If you take a cooker, for example, like an oven, what I'm talking about, so much faster than the oven, less cleaning to do, less maintenance, like everything just points in a good direction, probably safer than a microwave, more healthier to use than a microwave. Everything just points to being good, which in turn led to it going viral and then furthermore staying durable. From years of doing this, I've got myself this little ultimate checklist that I follow all of the time, which basically, if it ticks more than 75% of the boxes, which I have, then I'll go ahead and source it, and it's usually foolproof and pretty much succeeds most of the time. So once everything's checked out, things are looking good, you need to go ahead and source a manufacturer from there, right? And the manufacturers are going to be the backbone of your business. So it's super important that you get this right. You need to build a really good relationship with your suppliers, not just supplier, because I expect you to have multiple suppliers just so that you're spreading your risk. And you can look for these suppliers or manufacturers natively in your own country. You can look for them internationally around Europe, in the USA, or as we all know, probably the main place to go for it is China, right? That's where most products are manufactured in the world, and whether you like it or not, then you're probably going to end up sourcing from there at some point. Now, personally, I've actually sourced a lot of things natively. I live in the UK. I've sourced a lot of things natively before, and I've actually sourced a lot of things from Europe as well. However, I'm sourcing actively from China at the moment and have done a lot in the past as well. So it all depends what sort of product niche you go into as well, I believe. So that's something to think about. For sourcing in China, you can use things like Alibaba, which is like the biggest platform in the world really for sourcing. If you're looking for things natively, you can just search for manufacturers in your country, like baby products manufacturer UK or baby products manufacturer Poland, wherever it may be. And Europe actually have their own equivalent of like Alibaba as well. It's like Europages and other things like this. Now it's really important that you trust the suppliers that you're going to be working with, and it can be difficult to begin with. Obviously, you don't know the people, and especially some of them are literally on the other side of the world. So it's up to you to do some extensive research on them to see if they're legit, like how many staff members they've got, where they are, all these types of things. Speak to them for a long period of time first. You can even arrange inspections, people to go and visit them out in China, out in Europe, wherever it may be, to go ahead and see if they're legit, go ahead to see if they're producing the stuff that they say they do, go ahead and see if they are actually quality products as well. And when you've been speaking to them for a while, you're going to want to make sure that you order samples from them, okay? Very, very important. You never want to just go in blind, order a product straight away because it looks good, the price is great, and then not get samples. You want to be speaking with a few suppliers, at least 10 of them, narrow it down to like 2 or whatever, order samples from the best 2, compare them, and again, use that as negotiation tactics as well. You always want to be negotiating hard with these, get the samples, see the quality, maybe inspecting them, and the final point of call, when you've actually got the samples for the products, take that as the last part, be like, yeah, I want this exact product, or I want these very minor changes, and then bang, you put your big order in with them. But honestly, I want to stress once again, it's very important you do all your due diligence because some of them are out to get you. And again, if I take an example of myself, right? Earlier in this video, I said one of the months I lost £10,000 in a single month, which was very heartbreaking for me at the time. And that was because a supplier was out to get me. I was doing a different strategy at that point. I was still doing wholesale actually, but I actually wanted to do a shortcut, and I was looking for some branded products on Alibaba, which, by the way, don't do that if you're thinking about it. Very bad idea, by the way. But anyway, source the products, looked good, prices were great, and basically he just wanted my money. Yeah, I was saying that I was asking if these are authentic products. It was SanDisk memory cards. I don't care about gatekeeping it. It wasn't a winning product. So it was these SanDisk memory cards, and I was sending him a lot of messages trying to see if these are legit and things like this. And, things started to check out. He was sending certificates from like SanDisk apparently and stuff as well, which, it looked pretty professional. It looked pretty okay. So I was like, okay, well, he didn't really do samples, which was kind of a red flag at that point. And then I was like, okay, well, I'll just order a small batch of like 100. Did that, and they sold well. I had my record day of sales as soon as I sent them in, and it was crazy. I was like, oh my God, gonna be rich. but, yeah. So the sales went well. Placed a bigger order for 2,000 units, which was over I think 12K or something like this. And then refunds just start coming in from the old batch, saying the fake and stuff like this. Amazon closed the listing down, and bang. I say this to the supplier, and then little did I know, he just basically ghosts me. And then I'm cooked. I've lost all the money, got a deal with it, got all that dead stock of 2,000 with me because it ended up arriving. So do make sure you do your due diligence. I went a bit off track there, but hopefully that should make you learn your lesson. I want you to take on board a concept, which is factories versus sovereigns, right? You've got the factories who, they are there to just produce units, and units alone, right? They don't build brands, you build the brands. Factories only care about MOQs, MOVs, price, speed, but sovereigns also think about things like quality, specs, control, all these types of things. And you need to be portraying these to them. You need to be super, super in detail when you're speaking to them. The more specific you are, more specifically when you're sourcing out in China, right? More specific you are, the better results that you are going to get. And there will be a language barrier, obviously. So if you take the sovereign way of thinking to them, you will also find a sovereign supplier in synergy, creating a sovereign brand. And when you are speaking to them, potentially your branding and things like this or whatever, you need to understand that there's a difference between white label and private label. You got white label on one hand, which is basically just sticking your logo on something. And then you got private label on the other hand, which is basically creating your whole brand, creating a whole package, creating a story around it. Obviously, that private label side is going to go a hell of a lot further and generate you significantly more wealth, okay? But you may be thinking right now that the white label isn't going to do much for me. Regardless whether you do white label or private label, obviously private label is going to be a lot better for you. But the basic premise is that both is better than you right now than being an operator. And if you want to go down the private label route, you need to be thinking about things like how can you differentiate massively in terms of like price, design, packaging. How can I make it healthier? How can I add this ingredient, this, that, and the other? As one will create more longevity than the other. And real private label will make you multi-millions. Quick side note as well, when you're speaking with these suppliers, you're going to want to know how you're going to ship it. You want to be speaking in their terminologies. And you want to be coming across as an expert, otherwise they're just going to take advantage of you. So what are you going to do? You're going to ship it by air, you're going to ship it by sea, you're going to ship it by train. There's a few other ways to ship. You need to be knowing these types of things. You need to know the advantages, disadvantages of all of them. And it all does just depend on you, your situation, your product and things like this. Because for example, a super heavy thing, you're probably not going to ship it by air because it'll be very, very expensive. And a personal tip from me, if you're at the beginning stages and you're looking to ship from China, just get it done DDP so people can easily understand things and so that you can get a smooth transition from there to your door. So step 4 in the 5-step framework. And that is compliance and branding. It is a very boring topic, but compliance means survival. And that's because it creates trust, safety, and longevity. You're only ever going to get so far without it. If you don't have all the proper documents, test reports, compliance, and all these types of things, right? There's only so far you're going to get. There's not a problem until there's a problem. So if you don't get your act together, you don't get all these documents, and when you get asked for it, and then you're like, sorry, I haven't got that, or I'm going to have to get it. It might be a couple of weeks. No, it doesn't work like that. Amazon will close you down, TikTok will close you down, the government will close you down, the HMRC will close you down, the council will close you down, whoever it may be. If they ask for the stuff you ain't got them, there's going to be some serious problems for you. So you need to do a lot of your own extensive research, things like, does my product need a CE marking? Does it need testing? All these types of things. And I want to note, there can be some severe consequences if you're not following the law. Not just these people closing your business and things. It can even lead to things like fines and even imprisonment. Just take it as it is. You can't scale chaos. That's what you're doing already. If you're an operator, you're watching this video, that's exactly what you're doing. You're scaling chaos now already. You're scaling systems which are absolutely chaotic and are not designed to go that 10 steps further. You're also scaling chaos by always constantly looking for products, constantly giving yourself headache. So just stop. There's significantly less chaos when becoming a sovereign. And sovereigns build safe brands. Now, yeah, you've got complying with the law on one side, but you also need to make sure your branding's on point. If you're not got your branding on point, then you're not going to stand out from the competition, are you, right? So your brand really needs to answer who you are, what your product is, what it does, and if possible, what outcome that customer is going to get from buying your product, because outcomes and benefits really do sell and make that final decision for the customer. Not only that, I mean, it needs to be aesthetically pleasing. It needs to be, the colors should really be like targeted to your ideal customer. So if it's a male, you probably want darker colors. If it's a female, you may want lighter, maybe pink and things like this. But each to their own. There's been some very successful brands to which have stood out and they've gone very bold and done something completely different. So, I mean, hats off to them. And obviously, a final thing, it's got to have your logo on it, right? A logo and a brand name, which you're also going to trademark, right? Because if you don't do that, again, you're going to run into some serious problems. You can get things like hijackers come on your listings. So if you register a trademark, for example, with the US government, with the UK government, or the EU Property Office, that's going to really, really cover your back. And it's something, again, you need to think about in terms of your budget, When you're starting private label, it's another thing that you're going to have to factor in. And that's actually something I didn't speak about in terms of budget. And I simply didn't because it can really vary, but a very minimum that you should probably have is at least $3,000. When you've got all the trademarks, you're going to be able to take advantage of things like Amazon's brand registry tools, which are super important. Like I said, if you have any hijackers, which is basically people, let's say someone from China, a manufacturer from China basically comes in, starts selling your product on, let's say Amazon, for example. And you're like, oh shit. And let's say if you've not got a trademark, and you're like, oh shit, this guy's selling on my listing. Oh, I created all of this. Nothing you can do, sorry buddy. But if you have that trademark, you have the brand registry, that's when you can start filing complaints. And you can do the same on TikTok as well. If people are using your branding in their listings and stuff, you can actually IP complain them and say, you shouldn't be using this. This is not right and this is unfair. One last thing before I get onto the launch phase is you're gonna wanna get some photography taken of your product. Now, thankfully, we're living in a world right now where AI is so good. So, for example, there's been times in the past where I've had to wait for the product to come, for it to get photography done on it and all that. And it takes a long time sometimes, and then you've got to get it to the photographer, then you've got to do all the stuff. Perhaps you want to get them to edit it, or you want to get somebody else to edit it. You're just relying on people. But for example, while all this is into play, perhaps you've ordered the product, perhaps it's on the way, or perhaps you're about to order the product, it's on the way. You want to start getting either some photography done if you need to, or if you want to just, cut that out really, just try and save some costs. If you've got a good designer, you can literally do a lot of things with AI, with 3D renders, and just taking products which are already up on the internet and just adding your product to it with a little bit of Photoshop, a little bit of Canva. Mate, even I can do it. I can't do it great, don't get me wrong, but man, even I can piece like 7 or 8 images together. But it is really important that you do get these images because that's gonna help you with the TikTok and the Amazon platform, and also Shopify and eBay if you decide to list on there as well. But this video is more for the Amazon and TikTok side. When you've got all this done, that's gonna give you dual sovereignty. Now let's get on to the launch phase. You're gonna use Amazon and you're gonna use TikTok for 2 different reasons. But before I explain, you need to understand that Amazon is, first of all, a search-driven platform. And TikTok is basically like, I think of it like viral videos and impulse buys. People go to Amazon to actually search for things, buy things. There's actually intent there. People are actually got something in their mind that they want to search for and want to buy. Whereas TikTok, on the other hand, it's more somebody's doom scrolling, bang, that gets presented to them, and then they're buying it. So you're gonna use these for what they're designed for. So Amazon's used for like the SEO, getting the trust, capturing the audience's attention when they're searching for stuff. And TikTok's all about creating that demand. And you can actually create that demand even if there isn't any demand for the product at the moment. So obviously if it's gotta be a good product first of all, but if there's no demand for that product at all, and for example, no search volume on Amazon, you can actually make that go viral, which is the very cool thing about TikTok Shop. Very cool, okay? Gives you more reach. And for example, when creators create videos for you, you can actually use some of their creatives for the future if you get their permission to do so, which is very nice. So it's very important that you get those high quality images for Amazon and also TikTok, right? Because people actually need to be clicking on your product on Amazon, first of all. Them images are gonna get people to click. But not only that, also if your images don't sell, when people click on it on TikTok as well, while it's just an impulse buy kind of thing, right? If people click on it and it doesn't sell the product, if things don't look good, then again, people aren't gonna buy, people are going to click off. And also it becomes super important on an Amazon perspective for you to create. I'm not sure if you've seen it online before, you probably have, because it's people speak about it a lot. It's creating a highly optimized listing for Amazon. It's really important that you do that. Create a listing which has lots and lots of keywords in it so that you're ranking better for these keywords on Amazon. So when people are searching different things, and I see some sriracha sauce here, which is why I look. So people are searching for sriracha sauce, but also you want to be having things like hot sauce in there, or hot sauce for something, hot sauce for chicken. All these types of things you need to think about. And with TikTok, it is very important that you do the following when you are launching. So you want to be posting very regularly. And if you're a TikTok shop affiliate, you may know some of this stuff, but I'm going to go over it anyway. So you want to be making sure that you are posting at a bare minimum of 1 to 3 times per day, for sure. But not just any post. You really need to be focusing on how you can hook people in, okay? How that you can grab attention. Because you got to be realizing that everybody these days is an NPC. They're just there scrolling through their phone all day long. So you need to be thinking, how can you hook people in? You want to be combining 3 different things. A visual hook, which is basically what you're doing on screen, an audible hook, which is what you're saying, and then also a text hook, like a big headline for your video of text, which again, further hooks people in. Combining these trio is absolutely going to make sure that your videos get seen, shown to more people, and also retain more people, get more clicks, and in turn get more sales. Now, it's very important that you use both of these platforms to launch. Very, very important. And you're even going to combine it with things like Shopify and eBay if you want to build a super huge business. But here's a quick reality check. I've lost money, sleep. I've wanted to give up many times. I've had huge dips in revenue, lost 10 grand in a single month, but I gained ownership eventually. I make more money than ever. Now I'm in Dubai. I'm going to Bali in a month's time. I'm able to fly business class, even book my girlfriend business class tickets. We did 330K in revenue in the month of December 2025 and did a net profit of around £55,000. All because I changed, all because I wanted to become an owner, and I made that decision over 3.5 years ago. And today, this blows my mind now because I got a quote the other day for it. I could sell my business for close to $1 million cash. And also because I made that change, my business is a lot more systemized. So it's not like you, for example, if you've grown your business, which requires you, if you stop working, then your income drops, you stop sourcing products, you stop making money, you stop making videos. No, my revenue grew, my profits grew, but also my business has become more systemized and gave me even more freedom. So now you understand the sovereign way of thinking, the sovereign product selection, sovereign validation, sovereign compliance, sovereign branding, sovereign launching, all of it. But what you may be asking is, how do I get the step-by-step blueprint? How can I validate properly? How can I actually stay compliant? And how can I go multi-channel? What are the intricacies of it? That's the gap between knowledge and sovereignty. If you want to become a marketplace sovereign, I've built a full framework that goes all through the ideation, the validation, the compliance, the branding, the manufacturer sourcing, the launching, the scaling of the business, all of it, all through screen shares and much longer videos than what we're on now. It's not theory, it's not YouTube tips, it's super advanced screen shares that will really, really help you. And you can choose what stage you want to go at, how intensive you want to go. If you want some pre-recorded videos so you can go at your own pace and you want to save a bit of money, and you just want that quick fire, straight to the point knowledge, that's fine. We've got a course which can help you. But if you want to go further, you want a group, you want a community, we can do that. And also if you want to work one-to-one directly with me, that's completely fine. All you need to do is go ahead and check out the link down below in the description. But ultimately, right now, you have 2 paths. Path 1, stay as an operator, where you've been operating right now, or the problems that you've been having, or the chaos that you're having. Your growth is limited here, and a lot of it relies on you. Or you've got path 2, you can become a sovereign. More freedom, higher profit margins, and less stress. And when you get up and running with things, it's actually easier. So if this training hit you, you can already make money yourself, and you want more control, then this is the next level for you. Like I said, link below for the training. That's it from me. Peace out.